Good morning, gang. You got the Aired Out podcast live from North Main Street in Barrie is where we are seen. It's where we're heard from Fly on the Wall Productions. Pleasure to have you on board. airedoutVT.com. And, of course, we are streamed everywhere you get your podcasts. Lots to unpack this morning here. Weather-wise, we're just going to kind of dive right in. I've got Will standing by from Optical Expressions. He's going to be chatting with us this morning, our special guest and presenting sponsor. First, though, weather from NBC5 this morning. Debby's final chapter. That's what we're kind of calling it this morning. This is really for Debby, the beginning of the end, but for Vermont and upstate New York, we are just ramping up here and getting ready. Friday morning, starting out with some heavy rain before a lull on midday, especially over Vermont. We have that flood warning that is in place here for just about 24 hours. Started about just a little bit over an hour ago, so 8 o'clock tomorrow morning is when that's going to officially expire. But the heaviest rain from Debby and the greatest flash flood risk, really, according to Tyler over at NBC5, Jankowski, this guy's amazing, too. Begins late Friday afternoon, late this afternoon, right around 4 o'clock or so, and will last into this evening. Now, northern New York, I think most of us know, if you've been watching the news, if you've been paying attention to what's coming down, 2 to 4 inches of rain, locally higher amounts up to 6 inches for the Adirondacks in upstate New York. That is really not good. This is the area that faces the highest risk of flash flooding and river flooding, and they've already got it going on over there. The Ausable and many other rivers over in New York are quickly, if they haven't yet already, meeting flood stage. Most of Vermont likely going to see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, pretty much consistent with what we were saying yesterday, what the National Weather Service was saying yesterday. Locally higher amounts are possible, though. A flash flood and river flood warning is in place. Of course, we are at risk for that, especially in the lower portions of Vermont. You get down in the valleys, or you live anywhere on hillside, you know that you're at risk here, especially if you've got a river in your backyard, especially in far southern and eastern areas of Vermont. Still, some isolated flash floods are possible, like we've been saying, and we will continue to say as the media is pushing everywhere, especially in parts of the Northeast Kingdom, which are super vulnerable. Already some river flooding going on in St. Johnsbury this morning, we're told, and other parts of the Northeast Kingdom, Barton, Vermont, and the lakes up there. And that area got nailed just recently. So they've already got ground that is totally saturated and really not able to take any more. Heaviest rain roughly from 2 p.m. this afternoon until 11 p.m. That's kind of the window. Again, 4 o'clock is when things right here in Washington County are supposed to be shifting gears and kicking into a higher rainfall amount around 4 o'clock. But 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. is kind of the biggest spread. Rain's going to be tapering off late tonight. And, yeah, the sun's going to come up tomorrow morning. Some scattered power outages also expected tonight from the winds, which are going to be blowing on average anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour, depending on where you are. Some areas, you might feel 15 to 20 and maybe even less. But especially if you get up into a little bit of a higher elevation, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. And considering that the ground is saturated, some of these trees may topple over. So expect power outages. Don't be surprised. But again, sunshine comes out Saturday. Looks like a pretty good day. Highs near 80. Still some lingering river flooding, says NBC5, is possible Saturday through the day. But isolated showers and storms still possible on Sunday, reaching into the 70s. But the rest of the week looks like it's going to rebound nicely. 70s and 80s and plenty of dry out time. Sunshine, we need it. But, communities in Essex County, New York, taking extra precautions to try to minimize the damage, the expected anticipated damage across the Adirondacks. The crews have been working very hard over there. Right here in Barrie, same story. Sandbags have been are going out right now. City staff are dropping off pallets of sandbags on the north end. Vine and Scampini, Berlin Street, Brook Street, and Pleasant, as well as Harrington and Maple Ave, River and Granite Streets. And city crews are also delivering sandbags to Main Street businesses this morning. City officials urging you to move your car up to the Civic Center area today, this morning, if you can, especially if you live in a flood-prone area. All right, it's kind of common sense. Also common sense not to drive on any streets that are experiencing some pooling water and some flooding, whether it's major or minor. Street closures, barricades will be enforced, and we've been told since yesterday. As you know, the chief was in here yesterday morning, saying that they will not hesitate to close North Main Street here if there's water on the roads, because obviously that water from moving vehicles has been making its way in these past floods that we've had into area businesses up and down Main Street. So please pay attention to any barricades for your own safety and, safety of homes and business. All right. Make sure you also sign up for VT alerts. We're going to post that up in the comments here. But, it's a little bit of a busy morning. Not going to lie. Just use some common sense. Be careful out there if you are traveling anywhere, and make sure that you are prepared for some flash flooding. But again, 1 to 3 inches, I think that's going to give us some flooding, but certainly not as bad as July 10th, 2024, or July 10th, 2023. So just go easy today. Just use common sense and be careful. I've got Will with me, Will Adams from Optical Expressions. Man, it is great to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for coming in here and being with us this morning. I appreciate you. How you doing? Everything all right?
Yeah, can't complain. Thanks so much for having me back.
The last time we had you in here, we always learn a lot about glasses, and Optical Expressions, a business that has been in business for a long time. And just moved. I mean, it's almost habit for us to say Optical Expressions in the Berlin Mall. Those words, it's all been connected for so long, but now it's Optical Expressions in the Blanchard block. And it's been what? How long now?
It will be a year in September.
Okay.
So it's been a little while, but it still feels very new to us.
Yes.
I'm still used to being Optical Expressions Berlin, saying we're in the mall. And
I know.
Yeah, it takes a little retraining the brain to get used to that.
Part of the branding. And it's so simple. This new location, the 4th floor of the Blanchard block, you can park anywhere you want, out back, Metro Way, but you just hop in the elevator, you hit 4, doors open up, and I think most people, your customers, long-term customers, when they first came up there at the Blanchard block, were probably pretty surprised when the elevator doors open.
Yeah, it's definitely quite the change for us, and it's a gorgeous space. They really put a lot of effort into maintaining that building, and it really shows. It's beautiful, and the elevator puts you out right in front of our office. We have the big glass windows there. We have the glass shelves with all the nice sunglasses on it. So it's treated us very well. We're really happy with the space.
And we want to say, again, if you have any mobility issues, it's really no different than when you were at the Berlin Mall. I mean, you don't have to do any stairs or anything. It's even though we say fourth floor. Oh my God, fourth floor! I mean, it's so easy. You're right there. The elevator's there for you. So
we do have a lot of people who will take the stairs, and around the third flight is where you really start to feel it. You get a little out of breath.
Sure,
It's a lot of stairs.
You guys have so many customers that listen to Aired Out and always give you love, give you kudos to not just Mark Liepert. And I know everyone says Optical Expressions, Mark Liepert, but it's really all of you guys. It's Garuna Hartnett. Tell us about. We just had. Was it Nicole that just?
Yeah, sadly, local fixture in the community, Nicole Perrell did retire at the beginning of July. She worked one day past her 65th birthday, and that was it.
So she had been part of the team there since, I think, the late 80s, 1987, if I'm not mistaken.
She had been an optician, as I like to remind her, for longer than I've been alive. I think since the mid 80s.
Yeah.
So she had been doing it a long time.
What is Nicole doing now? Do we know?
Yeah, she is in Florida right now.
Okay.
Yeah, she has sisters who live down that way, so they've been living it up in Florida, enjoying. We got her a nice metal detector as her retirement present, which she was beyond thrilled by. She is a treasure hunting extraordinaire. So hopefully she comes back wealthier beyond her wildest
that
dreams.
Is so cool. I love to hear that. You guys threw a nice reception for her as she left, but she's never really going to be gone. She'll be coming back in there, I'm sure.
I hope so. She keeps telling us she'll come back and visit, but she's in Florida, so we'll wait until when she comes back. Hopefully we'll get to see her.
How is Mark doing? Mark Liepert, he is such a great guy. He's so friendly. He's always got that big smile on his face when you walk through the doors. He's such a great guy. How's he doing?
He's doing really well. He is on vacation this week, so hopefully he is doing extra well, getting some much-needed time away from the office.
Yes.
And hopefully comes back and nothing will be flooded and everything will be great.
Yeah. And Tim, how's he doing? Is he all right?
He is. They got quite a bit of flooding up that way. He's in like the St. Johnsbury, Danville area. Last time we got quite a bit of water, and the roads haven't quite recovered from then, so hopefully everything will be just ducky for him.
Yeah, right. Listen, Raylene just got a pair of glasses from you guys. We've been talking about this lately. This was we had some fun with the word bifocals, of course, but we call them what? Transition lenses, right?
Progressive
lenses.
Yeah.
The transition is the color changing.
Right.
Okay.
I wish
hers are also.
Which they are also that. They can be
Yes.
both. I wish the industry had picked two different terms that were more different from one another. I probably get that on a daily basis.
I'm sure you do.
Someone being like, I want these. And we're like, are you sure you don't mean progressive?
Yes, right.
Happens all the time.
So is the popularity of this of progressive lenses, is this something that's kind of picking up pace a little bit? My brother says it is, and he's got a pair, and he thinks I'm crazy because mine aren't. But is it picking up popularity?
It absolutely is. Certainly part of it is, we'll even have a lot of people who tried progressives, let's say 15, 20 years ago, and they'll be like, oh, I really hated them then. I could not get used to them. They were too weird. I'm like, well, try it again. It's like with everything, the technology changes. Yeah. At this point, they're all digitally surfaced. We even have ones that you can order that are like AI created. It gets pretty wild. The optics of them, the clarity of them are completely night and day different than they used to be 20 years ago. And the big benefit they do have over something like a bifocal is because it is a smooth transition from top to bottom. You have all that space in between. It's not a harsh, one then the other.
Right.
A lot of us work on computers these days.
Sure.
Computer sits at this kind of funny distance. We call it the intermediate. It's somewhere in the 24 to 26 inches away from you.
Yeah.
It's too far away to be your up close reading, which the doctor will typically set it 12 to 14 inches where you'd comfortably read a book or a magazine. But it's also not far away enough to be your distance correction that you would use for driving a car down the road. So that's where a lot of people who've worn the bifocals for a long time get in this interesting dilemma where you can't use a regular bifocal if you're working at a computer, especially 2-3 monitors all day long. It just doesn't work.
We had that conversation when you built these for me, which are regular glasses. They're not progressive. And we talked about the pros and cons to that. And I have my other set of glasses for nighttime driving and far away sight. But these are perfect for, and you nailed it. I mean, what is it, like 2 feet or maybe even a little bit less for the computer monitor. And I notice that, and I should be wearing them every single day. Sometimes they're in the case and they're out of reach or wherever after I get on the air, and I notice that I don't necessarily struggle, but sometimes I have a more challenging time. Mm-hmm. It depends how much coffee I've had too. That plays a role.
Right. Definitely depends on the day.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it is easier to use a pair that's maybe just for the computer. If you do have a lot of different monitors and maybe they're at different heights like yours are, different distances, sometimes a progressive can be a little tricky, and a single vision set that is strictly only for the computer works wonders. Everybody has these different workstations, whether you just sit behind a desk, maybe you work as a receptionist, maybe you're standing at a standing desk, moving up and around. Everybody's jobs are a little bit different, and there's no one thing that's necessarily perfect for everybody. It always depends on, what your day-to-day is like and what you need it to do.
Sure. The technology is fascinating to hear you talk about that. So when you I hear the word bifocal, but with these progressive lenses, people don't look at you and say, "Oh, that guy's got some progressive glasses on right there." You can't really tell so much.
Right. When looking at them, you cannot tell.
You cannot tell.
One of the big things we'll get with people who are, somewhere between 40 and 50 and getting to the point where their up-close vision isn't quite what it used to be, they'll finish up with Dr. Leeper and they'll come out and be like, "Oh, he said I got to wear bifocals. I don't want those. My dad had those with the line across them," and be like,
"It's the B word."
Yeah. Like, don't worry. You don't have to have the line. Like, you're not going to look immediately like your dad. We can do something else. You can wear a progressive instead.
Yeah, my dad used to, depending on how he looked at you, his eyeballs were like this. They looked like a frog. But that's not the case anymore. So don't think like that. Come in and, trust you guys that you know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what they keep us around for.
Yeah.
Part of it is it's not just getting a prescription and getting a checkup on your eye health to make sure there aren't any underlying issues. It's sitting down and just having a quick chat. Like, hey, what do you do? Hey, what do you want to do?
Right.
Do you want to wear a pair of glasses all day long?
Sure.
Do you want to have multiple pairs you switch between? What do you need? Because again, everybody is a little bit different. What works for me might not work for somebody else.
Exactly. And so I've got 2 pairs, and I have to admit, they're different styles, but it's a little bit of a pain in the butt having 2 different pairs, because honestly, I'm kind of a wrecking ball a little bit, and I'm moving around quickly. I'm throwing stuff around, and when you have 2 sets of glasses, you're at greater risk of one of them getting damaged or scratched. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think, and I love these, by the way, that you guys made, the ones that I'm wearing now. But I think my next go is going to be progressive, especially after seeing Raylene's that she just last week had you guys make.
Yeah, I know she actually called up the office, and I just happened to answer the phone.
Yeah.
So I just checked in, chatted with her a little bit. She told me, what was going on, what the issue she was having was, because I know she's been wearing just the readers for a long time. Like, well, maybe it's time to try something else. Maybe those aren't working for you. So, come in, sit with us, have a chat.
Right.
It's always worth trying out the progressives. Us and the labs we work with are super understanding of people trying them the first time.
Yeah.
They don't work for everybody. I'll admit that. Some people, it's just for whatever reason, maybe the way your brain is wired, whatever your day-to-day is, they're just not going to work. And that's okay. If you try them for a week or two and you're like, look, I gave it an honest effort, but I don't like these things, you're not stuck with them. Come back in and let us know. We'll order you a pair of bifocals in. We'll order in, a single vision set of lenses, a reading set of lenses, whatever it is you need.
Interesting.
If you tried it and it doesn't work, we'll take care of it.
Wow. I need to schedule an appointment for an eye exam, and we're going to talk about that from a scheduling standpoint in just a little bit, because I know how busy you guys are at Optical Expressions, but we're all changing. I mean, like it or not, we're getting older. So the last I admit this, it's a little embarrassing. It wasn't that long ago, but I don't remember when I had my last eye exam. How often should we be having an eye exam? And the older you get, maybe the more frequently it should be. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. The blanket rule is every 2 years is recommended, unless you have a specific medical need to come more often.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, as people get older, whether you have cataracts, you have to keep an eye on macular degeneration. Diabetes is another big one. Those are the things where you should be coming regularly every 12 months just to keep an eye on it. Even if your prescription's not changing, you're sitting with the doctor and they are keeping an eye on the medical side of things to make sure everything is kosher that way.
Sure. And even if you don't have medical issues, things can change quickly. I don't know. The older we get, what do we get? Nearsighted, farsighted. What is that now? What happens?
Yeah. So it typically sets in somewhere around 40. It's what's called presbyopia. I like to tell people that any year after 40 you go without needing something, to help you read up close, it's a bonus year.
Yes. Yes. That is hysterical.
Yeah, that's just those years are freebies. It's just as we age, our eyes do change. It's what's called an intraocular lens in your eye. It's very flexible, and it's when you're younger, it allows your vision to accommodate between seeing something 60 feet away and then immediately looking down and seeing something 8 inches away.
Oh.
As you get older, it's not as flexible. It becomes more rigid. All of a sudden, you can't swap between those distances quickly anymore. Your eye just physically doesn't work the way it used to work, and unfortunately, that's just part of the aging process.
Yeah, there's been. I'll be straight with you. There's been a little bit of frustration for me, and I'll give you an example. We were just out in the boat not long ago, and I was trying to redo my fishing stuff, and here's me trying to tie on a swivel and get the hook on there, trying to get the fishing line through and I was out in the boat. I didn't have my glasses. I had my sunglasses with me. Got a little frustrated, Will.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes you can get a little it can be a little tough getting older, and it's not just that. I've also noticed that it seems like the older I get, the more while I'm driving at night or a passenger in a car at night, is it my imagination or are the headlights getting brighter, which I think they are, but I'm also getting almost more sensitive to the point of like pain. I got to cover my eyes.
Yeah, it unfortunately is a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. There definitely are brighter headlights these days, and at those, high intensity colors that can be really irritating to people as you're driving by. That's out of my purview, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But certainly your eyes just do change as they get older. You can get more light sensitive. It can be harder to see at night because there's not as much light that's getting into your eye. Certainly, cataracts are also very much a thing. That's kind of one of those first warning signs for people, when they're just, the night vision's not quite what it used to be.
Sure.
Maybe you are looking at a flat white surface and you're seeing a little bit of a yellowy or brownish tinge to it. might be time to come in and see the doctor to see if cataracts are an issue. 'Cause you can have those at an earlier age than you would think. So there's a lot of things to, pun intended, keep an eye on.
Yeah.
It's really hard to avoid optical puns. I don't do it on purpose, but it happens.
Oh my God, that's funny. Is there a clear eyeglass that has something in it? When you're driving at night, it's going to just take that glare down just a little bit?
There's one of two ways to go about it. You can get a clear set, even if you don't need prescription, or if you do, that has what's called a anti-reflective or an anti-glare coating on it. That does help reduce that glare from oncoming headlights, street lights, things like that. It also is really useful if you're somebody who works at the computer a lot, helps with the screen glare, or somewhere with like a harsh overhead fluorescent. I have it on this pair. It doesn't look weird. You can see right at my eyes. It's nothing strange.
Yes.
But if you're looking for something really specifically for night driving, they do have certain yellowed colored lenses, oftentimes, which will have a anti-reflective coating on top of those. And that does really brighten things up. It makes the contrast a lot more vivid, and it just makes it easier to see. It helps more of the light get into your eye, which is the issue you're having at night, just not being able to see.
Isn't that amazing? That's fascinating. Yeah, you should hear me when we should go for a drive sometime at night. You should hear me complain. It's unbelievable. What about? And I want to ask you about insurance and all that stuff too. But what about getting an appointment to have an eye exam? Is it like a 3 or 4 year wait?
Hopefully not that long. We're definitely looking out a month, 2 months, possibly more. It's a little tricky these days.
Wow.
Our doctors work pretty hard. They see a lot of people every day, but they can only see so many, unfortunately. And part of just, post-COVID times, there used to be a lot of eye doctors' offices in central Vermont. A lot of them have retired. They're just not as many as there used to be. There's still just as many people. There are just as many patients with eye care needs, and unfortunately a lot less offices and a lot less availability to see them.
Wow. Get on the list here. 223-2090. 223-2090. Call them today, and don't be like so many of us and be like, well, I'll get it in a few weeks. This is something you really need to stay ahead of, like you said, because you guys are very busy. And the other thing is, when you do have an eye exam, when you come into Optical Expressions, you're not going to be hurried up and rushed out of there. It's not going to be a quick exam, 10 minutes and you're out. They're going to take the time that is needed to not only give you the technical side of the exam, but also the discussion afterwards. And then the most difficult part is picking out some frames that look good on your face. And I'm sure that you've had people spend an hour or more. Am I being conservative
absolutely.
here?
I mean, you never know. Sometimes somebody will pick a pair in 30 seconds. Sometimes it's 2-3 hours. Sometimes it's multiple trips.
Sure.
You just never quite know.
What do we have to do as parents to pay attention to our kids when it comes to their eyesight? Because kids are kids, and they're preoccupied with thinking and doing so many other things. How do we know, hey, here we are a couple of weeks away from the school year starting. I'm not so sure that my child's vision is as well as it should be. I mean, what kind of signs should we be paying attention to that where we as an adult can say, hey, maybe my 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old needs an eye exam? I mean, obviously the pediatrician, but beyond that, I mean, what do we need to do as parents to trigger some kind of note that we might want to get an eye exam at Optical Expressions, not just for the school year, but for any time?
certainly one of the kind of big warning signs is if they're either reading or watching TV. If you pay attention and if they're holding a book 6 inches from their face, or maybe they're on the floor in front of the TV, only a couple feet between them and the TV. Wow. That's usually a pretty big indicator. Or if you find they're squinting a lot, if they're having trouble seeing things further away, oftentimes those are issues that can come up in the classroom. If your kid just happens to have a desk towards the back and they need to see something up on the board and they just can't, that's a pretty good sign. It's worth checking in with their teacher. Have they been having trouble? Are they able to see things? Where are they sitting? These are things that can be really important, just to keep an eye on, to make sure that they are, going into the school year, being able to function in their environment. Learning's a lot of work. Being a kid at school is really difficult. Sure. You don't need to make it any harder on them than it already is.
But when they come into optical expressions, at that point during an eye exam, it's more of technology comes into play here, and we're going to be able to find out if there's any kind of issues, whether it's nearsighted, farsighted, or I'm guessing there's a whole list of other things that I don't know what the technical terms are for. Stigmas or whatever it's called. Is that
astigmatism? Yeah,
astigmatism,
and there's all kinds of things, and it's certainly some of the more medical side of things can come up if you go and see their pediatrician, with their regular doctor. That kind of stuff can come up with them, and even if you don't necessarily need a eye exam from us, we'll have a lot of people who maybe go down to Dartmouth and they might see a ophthalmologist for their kid down there because they have some more specific vision related needs. If they do give you a prescription, you can come to us and still get glasses through us, especially if your ophthalmologist's office doesn't take some form of insurance towards glasses, or they don't carry glasses at all.
Yep.
We're always happy to have people come in who don't get eye exams with us. That goes for adults too.
Yeah.
If you go somewhere else, you have a doctor that you absolutely love and you trust, and that's where you want to get your prescription.
Get it.
Please do. Absolutely. You are always welcome to come in and sit with us.
That's
and
a great
pick out
point.
Glasses.
We pushed that on the air the other day, and that is so important to echo that. It's wonderful. For the kids, though, back to the kids, great selection of eyeglasses for kids that really fit a child's lifestyle. They're made a little tougher. I'm guessing more flexible, but
yeah, kids, as we all know, can be a little hard on things. They're not always the most careful. So you definitely need frames that not only are smaller so that they do fit their heads, but just can take up to that punishment.
Sure.
We do have a brand of ones that have what's called a 360-degree hinge. I mean, you can take the hinges and bend them this way, up, down, sideways, any which direction. I've yet to come in with a kid breaking one of those yet.
Yeah.
It hasn't. I'm sure somebody will manage, but it hasn't happened yet.
Sure. And of course you got those frames that are made to break right here in the center. I say break, but it's a magnet. Am I right?
Yeah, some people do really love those. They're what's called a click frame. They have a little magnet in between. A lot of times people who need just reading ones will use those because you can just have them around your neck, clip them on, take it off.
Amazing.
Makes your life a little more convenient that way.
What happens, Will, and how do you and Tim and Mark react and respond to someone who comes in very reluctantly? They just don't want the eye exam because this is going to mean that they gotta have glasses. They don't want glasses. They don't want the trouble of wearing glasses every day. And they're like, and then they have the eye exam, and it's determined you really need glasses. You need them for driving from a safety perspective. But if you want to improve the quality of your life, if you're reading, if you're working on the computer, you really need glasses. That's kind of your job, and Tim and Mark's job too, is to be able to break that news to someone. But what if you get someone who's just like absolutely positively, I'm not wearing glasses. Options. We have maybe laser surgery or contacts, right?
Right. Those would definitely be the two options. If just for whatever reason, glasses are not your thing, it's not going to happen for you. It's worth, when you're sitting in with your doctor, having the discussion about contact lenses. A lot of people wear contact lenses. They have contacts of all kinds of different brands, all kinds of different styles and strengths.
Colors.
Colors even. Everybody's eyes are, a little different shape. So the doctor needs to sit with you, find one that not only works for your prescription, but also works with the shape of your eye and works with your, specific medical needs. Because contacts are they're a medical device. People don't always think of it that way, but it is something that is sitting directly on your eye. So you need to make sure it's right. You need to make sure they're clean. Cleanliness is unbelievably important with contacts. Cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
And potentially, if you're like, maybe none of this junk is for me, laser surgery might be an option. Some people are good candidates. We can make a referral out to Vermont Laser Vision. You can go see them, get a consultation, see if it's something that'll work for you.
And what's that called? LASIK? LASIK?
The LASIK surgery.
Yeah. What's the technology like with that from frankly, a pain standpoint? You're not knocked out.
No, I have heard it's very strange looking at the laser and can be a little unsettling, but it is weirdly very painless.
Sure.
And is not that bad. It's very quick. It is a quick recovery. A friend of mine actually just got it, at 32. And he doesn't need glasses anymore. He's never in his life gone without a pair of glasses.
How long will that last, though? I mean, you're still aging, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, oftentimes, especially if you do get it younger, it's just not going to last forever. At some point, you will probably need something in order to read again. My dad got LASIK surgery about 25 years ago.
Wow.
At this point. He can't read a thing. He refuses to even wear reading glasses. He's very stubborn about it. So it's a good thing he has my mom to read everything for him because he can't do it. But unfortunately, your eyes do keep changing. They age as the rest of you ages.
Yeah.
And while LASIK can be good for a while, at some point you still might need something to help you see.
One of the things that when I think of optical expressions about you guys is there's glasses and lenses and stuff to improve your vision, improve your quality of life, whether you're reading, you're using your computer, you're driving, you need to see better far away, better closer, all of that. But there's also a thing about you guys where protection is key. And we pushed this really hard during your July sunglasses sale, which I think you guys did the year before also.
We did.
That protecting your eyes, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how great your eyesight is, it could be incredible. But if you are exposing yourself, whether you're skiing with bright snow, whether you're in an environment where there's a lot of wind or a lot of sand or debris flying through the air, or you're just out working outdoors for a living, especially during the summer, the angle of the sun, the brightness, the intensity of the sun, you've got to have the right set of protection on your eyes, or you're going to have poor eyesight in the near future.
Yeah, not only the the eyesight complications that can come down to it, but there are other things on top of that. We went to a class in Middlebury last summer, and one of the things I was really surprised to learn from the speaker there is, as we all know, the sun can cause any different degrees of skin cancers.
Yeah.
The most common one in the United States is in that soft skin tissue around your eyes, because it is so sensitive compared to the rest of you that if you're not wearing, sunglasses or some form of protection around that, it actually is a really high likelihood of skin cancer, more so than any other skin cancer, which is really surprising.
Isn't
I had
that
no
amazing?
idea.
Yeah. Yeah, anywhere that is exposed to the sun is very harsh and can cause a lot of damage, especially if there's regular exposure. Get yourself a pair of sunglasses, and I want you to show some of the props that you have there. Some of these sunglasses are so cool, man.
Yeah.
Give me some brand drops here. I want, what is it? Oakley? What do you have?
Yeah. So we carry Oakleys, we have Ray-Bans, we have Kanan, we have Costas, we've got Carreras, we have Vera Bradleys, we've got all kinds of different things. I did come equipped with some Oakleys today, which got in a huge shipment just the other day, but these ones specifically are partnered with the United States Olympic Committee. So these are officially sponsors of the Olympics. They've got the red, white, and blues on them. Really swanky stuff. They come with these nice limited edition, U.S. Olympic team cases.
You could sit on that damn case and nothing's going to happen.
This thing is built like a rock. Yeah, that is solid.
Which is important. Those are some pretty slick shades right there, man. And then show us the other pair.
Oh, yeah. So this one, it's even more of a biking or a kind of motorcycle shade. It's a really tight wrap, so it hugs to your head. I'll throw it on. It's not my
That's
style
what I need,
personally,
though.
But yeah,
I
that
like
way it
that.
fits underneath a helmet.
I like that a lot.
If you're out and about, I've been doing a lot of biking this summer. Having something like that, it's really handy.
Yeah, when you're moving your head around quickly, you need your glasses to stay in place and not move around. Wow. And was there a third pair there too, or those are
just the two? Yeah, I brought in the two they sent us that are that nice red, white, and blue color to it. Official Olympic sponsors via Oakley, so they sent us some pretty snazzy stuff we were excited about.
During the summer, we're near the water. Whatever we're doing, a lot of us are out by the lake. We're going to the ocean. We're out in the boat. Whatever. Polarized lenses. How critical is that? How important is that?
Yeah. Polarized lenses, it's honestly pretty game-changing if you've only ever had a regular tinted lens before. For the summertime, huge.
Yeah.
You get that reflection where light comes down, it bounces or refracts off a flat surface like the water, or in the wintertime, the ice and snow. That reflection actually dramatically increases the strength of that light glare by a massive percent.
Magnifies it.
So you'll have those issues where, first thing in the morning in the winter, you're driving, the sun's coming up, it's bouncing towards you, going completely blind on the interstate. I've had that happen before. You can have the same thing happen in the summertime with the light glaring off the water.
Yeah.
Polarized lenses almost completely eliminate that glare.
Yeah.
They have what's called a horizontal filter that is
Yes.
built into the lens itself that completely counteracts that glare.
It's almost like a grid, almost, isn't it? That, yeah,
it's very cool. A lot of times we'll show it to people to be like, look, this is what it's doing. If you take that polarized lens and you hold it up to an electronic screen like a computer or your cell phone, you can look through it, but then if you turn it sideways, you'll see it counteracting that glare. Goes completely pitch black. It is blocking out all of that light, which in turn is showing you the light that it's blocking out from getting to your eye.
Amazing technology. I was just out in the river the other day and looking down at the water that was swirling around me, and you could see it. It almost looks blue in a way. That's how you know that you've got polarized lens.
Yeah, and fishermen really love them because it lets you cut out that glare and then see into the water. You can actually see where fish are. You can see where you're walking.
Right.
Huge game changer.
For the folks that say, well, hang on a second. Well, these glasses that I want to get are much cheaper. It doesn't say polarized, but it says UV protection. What's the difference?
So a polarized pair does have UV protection built into that. Tinted pairs, oftentimes, especially if it is a specialty tint, that we will do for someone with prescription, does have a UV blocking built into it. You can get, at the, gas station or whatever, you can find those sunglasses, $10, $15, whatever, that will say UV protection on it. That is good. I'm not going to say it's not, because you do want that cutting out those UV rays and that UV radiation, because that is the stuff that can damage your eye and the skin around your eye. The big thing you do want to look for is if you're, and especially if you don't need prescription sunglasses, if you're just going to get a cheap pair, throw them on, that's great. If it has UV protection. If it doesn't, that can actually be damaging for your eyes.
Your pupil opens, right?
It does. Yeah. Behind the dark lens, your pupil will open. It will get bigger because it needs to take in more light to see. Wow. But then what happens is there is more space in that enlarged pupil for those UV rays to get in and damage your eye. So if the sunglass is not blocking those out, you can actually be doing a lot more lasting harm to your eye that way.
And when you say harm, this isn't like you're walking around and you're feeling any pain or anything. This is you're doing harm and you're not even realizing it. Mm-hmm. You're not feeling conscious pain, but you're damaging your eyes.
Right.
It's amazing.
Kind of stuff, you might not notice today or next week, but 15, 20 years down the line, that catches up with you eventually.
Yeah. Prescription sunglasses, you guys obviously very much do that over at Optical Expressions. Someone comes in, I need a pair of sunglasses, I got to be able to see. You can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do prescription sunglasses all the time, and there's all kinds of, different ones, whether you need something that's a little sportier so you can do it under a helmet, biking, motorcycling, what have you. Maybe you just need a, pair that's a little more fashionable.
Sure.
You can do that too. You can do them polarized, non-polarized, snazzy, colorful mirror coats are an option for that too. So there's a whole world of things.
What about progressive sunglasses?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, you can do progressives, you can do bifocals, whatever you want it to be.
And you can do like Raylene's that she just got, you can do the transition progressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, whatever you want. We can make it happen.
Incredible technology. And like you said, you've got a style and a frame for every head, for every face, for every taste and style. What about insurance? I want to ask you about that because insurance and optometrists or ophthalmology they're not always the best of friends. Insurance companies are not overly anxious to get involved with eye care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, insurance can definitely be a little tricky. There are a world of different insurances out there. There are so many. Every week, somebody's calling up and say, "Hey, do you take Blobbity Blue?" And I'm like, I've never even heard of that, and I do this every day.
Yeah.
And all of them have different kinds of benefits. Some of them will do $100 every 2 years. Some of them will cover an eye exam in full. Some give you $50. They're all wildly different. Unfortunately, a lot of them tend not to cover towards glasses unless they have what's called a vision rider attached to it. So, for example, you might have Blue Cross Blue Shield, State of Vermont. That has a benefit where they give you $100 towards an exam or lenses every 2 years. But let's say maybe you're part of a union, and as that union, you have a buy-up plan which can get you vision coverage, which is great. That's a vision rider. It's a rider on top of that regular insurance plan you have. Unfortunately, we are not in network with those vision riders. We used to be, and as we found out, the reimbursement they gave us was terrible. We would sell a pair of glasses, run the numbers afterwards, and realize we actually lost money selling a pair of glasses, which is not the way you can stay in business.
No.
It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, while we are out of network with those, a lot of them do have a separate out-of-network benefit attached to it. So if you do still want to come to us and you still want to get some bang for your buck out of that coverage that you're paying for, we can pull it up. We'll see if you have an out-of-network benefit. If you do still pay in full up front, but you can either submit it yourself. You might get a little more money back that way. Or if you just don't want to do the hassle, we'll submit it for you so you don't have to do the paperwork, and they mail all of that reimbursement directly to you.
Wow. So you've got Tammy and other staff members that do this type of stuff. Am I right?
So Tammy's actually doing more on the doctor side of things. She's been working as a tech there, helping them out.
Okay.
But behind the desk, we do have Sally, we have Cheyenne, Kelly, and Evelyn, all of whom are insurance wizards.
Yeah.
I know the barest minimum about insurance. I'm always just like, talk to them. They know what they're talking about.
Wow.
I can only do so much.
Yeah. So when you call and you say, hey, I need, I'd like to get on the list for an eye exam, you'll be asked, do you have insurance? And well, I don't know. I'm sure you get a lot of people. I don't know. I've got insurance, but I don't know what's covered. You just give the information. They'll find out for you. And listen, I mean, let's just kind of say it like it is. And the same thing goes for a dentist and dental insurance. How do I say this? It's almost worth, and I know this is very difficult for many of us, but if you don't have dental insurance, that's great, or you're not really sure what you got for eye coverage, it would be amazing if you just put a little bit of money aside every month, every couple of months, into an account where you can just tap into that just to take the edge off. You want to go get a dental cleaning or more frequently than what your insurance covers. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to afford your eye exam. These are really, really important things. And don't let an insurance company's coverage dictate whether or not you're going to be properly taking care of your eyes. I mean, come on. Vision, your hearing, I mean, these are some of the most important things and, frankly, the biggest things that we all take for granted all the time. When something happens and we have an eye injury or what have you, life changes immediately. So get that eye exam and get over there and give them a call. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 6. Optical Expressions on the 4th floor of the Blanchard Block right here in the Granite City. You guys are on Facebook. You're on the web, oeberlin.com, and you can kind of browse through some of the frames right there and get an idea. Hey, maybe this would look good on me. And don't be rushed if you want to try on some different glasses. I'm sure you've had people in there for an hour or so.
Or more.
I mean, this is an important thing, And I don't know, it almost, and call me crazy, it almost seems like, and tell me if I'm off base here, that eyeglasses are almost becoming like trendy and popular. It seems like, anyway. I'm seeing younger and younger people with glasses on, and I even saw something where they were like, "Oh, these aren't prescription glasses. I just wear these for because it's the style. It's in right now. It's trendy." With the clear frames.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we do a lot of those these days. The clear ones are very in vogue, and we do sometimes have people come in and get non-prescription ones, because it is a fashion accessory. It is
right.
An extra thing you can wear to just have a little statement, have a little fun with it. If you don't need them to see, good for you. That's great, but you can still wear them just for fun. And if you do need them to see, you might as well wear something that you look good in if you have to wear them anyway.
Sure.
You might as well enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, you get any folks that are trying to be like Elton John? I mean, there's some folks that, they want the clear glasses. They don't want them too big. They don't want them too small. It seems like the bigger glasses are more popular now. Is that true?
We've definitely been doing a lot more larger frames recently. A lot of big ones, a lot of plastic ones with really vibrant colors to them are definitely more in these days.
Yeah.
And, there are a lot of times people come in and be like, I saw so-and-so celebrity and is wearing a pair like this. Like, get me a pair like that.
Can you do it?
Oftentimes we can. I'm not going to lie. I went and I saw Top Gun Maverick, and I said, boy,
come on,
those aviators look great on Tom Cruise. I bet you those aviators will look great on me. And I went online, and I found exactly the pair and style that Tom Cruise wears in that movie, and I got them,
exactly.
and I love them.
Exactly the pair.
Absolutely, exactly the one. If you watch Top Gun Maverick, this is my movie spiel. Every pair that somebody wears in that movie is a Ray-Ban of some sort, and it is a pair that you can order and get. Every single sunglass, every regular glass, Ray-Ban is a huge sponsor of the Top Gun movies. Yeah, so if you want to, look a little more like Tom Cruise, and I think we all would love to look a little more like Tom Cruise, you can do that.
Isn't that fascinating? Wow. Yeah, and there's been songs written about wearing the Ray-Bans and stuff in the top down. Yeah, this is so interesting to hear this. But there's some people that are like, I don't want my glasses to be very obvious. Mm-hmm. I want a super thin frame. I want a small lens. Blah blah blah. And then you get other people that are like, I want fluorescent green. I want people 10 miles away from me to know that I'm wearing glasses.
Absolutely. Everybody has a different vibe, and they want a different thing. Maybe the big chunky plastic one's your thing. Or maybe you want to go super minimalist. We carry a brand called Silhouettes, which is what's called a drill mount frame, where it's these tiny, really slender little titanium pieces, and there's actually no frame to it. They, at the lab, drill little holes into the surface of the lens, and the frame mounts into the lens itself. Just as little amount of frame as possible, super minimalist, and unbelievably light. So
really?
That's an option if, the big, loud frame is not your thing. You can go that route.
Isn't that something? Any other points that you want to bring up this morning over at Optical Expressions and eye care in general? On behalf of you or Mark or anyone over there. Tim, any big things you want to push? Outside of what we've been talking about this morning. I want to make sure we're covering all our bases here.
I think this has been pretty good. Yeah, nothing immediately comes to mind.
I want to close out by saying this. If you have a partner in your life who may be in denial that they need some help with their vision for whatever reason. I know this may sound weird, but go to Optical Expressions and actually buy them a gift certificate and give it to them and have your chuckle, but then be like, look, this is, we'll laugh about this all day, but in another sense, this is actually pretty serious that you get in there and get a comprehensive eye exam, and let's get this figured out, and let's get some improvement to your life. Once they get a gift certificate, it's kind of like that's the ticket that's punched right there. You need to go. Mm-hmm. You need to get this done, and give them the gift certificate toward frames that they can pick out, or for the eye exam, which is maybe a little boring, but maybe give it to them to pick out some frames. You can customize this gift certificate is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, if they go in and see the doctor and it turns out they don't need glasses, that's great. You can still use the gift certificate towards the exam. It is good to just have the time to sit down with the doctor.
Right.
Check your eyes, make sure that everything is as it should be, especially if you do have a family history, diabetes, glaucoma, macular degeneration is another huge one.
Yes.
Even if you are seeing fine, it's worth checking in with a doctor every couple of years just to make sure that everything is good. That way in 10, 15 years' time, you don't run into these issues that could have been easily preventable.
Yeah, right. Great point. It is probably one of the biggest things I think that so many of us take for granted is our eyesight. Eyesight, dental care, and hearing, maybe. But don't let time be your enemy here. Stay on it. Stay ahead of the game here, and get to Optical Expressions Monday through Friday. You guys are open 8 to 6 in your new location. Again, the Blanchard Block, 4th floor, right next to the Opera House. Zip up in the elevator, and when you walk out of the elevator, you're going to be very surprised. oeberlin.com. You guys are on Facebook. And, again, the phone number is 223-2090. Not to sound cheesy, but literally, operators are standing by. Sorry, I didn't say that. But I mean, literally, your staff is right there ready to answer the phone and say, hey, here's what we're looking at for the rest of August. Here's what we're looking at for September. Let's get this locked in. Stop procrastinating.
Yeah, it's very easy to put it off.
Yes,
it
is.
Especially in these weird
We're busy.
post-COVID times.
Yeah.
Time just gets away from you. People
Sure.
call up and be like, I was in not that long ago. It would have been a year or two. And I'm looking up and be like, it was 6 years ago. But time is strange these days.
Okay, so that happened. That exact scenario happened to me, and that was when I came in there. I came in there, and I think I spoke with you before Mark, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how long it's been. Seriously, this was a conversation. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a long, long time, and I am almost humiliated because and you were like, well, how long do you think it's been? And I think I said like 5 or 6 years, and it had been, I think, 11.
Oof.
Yeah. And I came out of there with a new pair of glasses. You fixed me up. But that's way too long, man. Way too long.
Yeah, 11's a lot of years.
Yeah, don't do that. Again, you say on average, the average Joe, 2 years. Every 2 years.
2 years.
Get an eye exam. Whether you think you have a problem or not. Because a lot of these problems create themselves very slowly. Yeah. Good talking with you, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
I always learn so much from you. And to be able to sit down and have a conversation about vision and eye care and eyeglasses for a full hour, you make it fun, buddy. And so does Mark and the rest of the team over there. You guys are a great big family. And we appreciate your sponsorship and support here of Air It Out time and time and time again. We love you guys.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been really lovely doing this. It's a great way to start my morning. I get a nice, quick, easy work day after this. Going a little later, so no complaints.
and I say this to all of you there, Tim. We haven't had Tim on the air yet, or Mark, but man, we'd love to have any of you guys. You're all welcome anytime. So please come back soon.
A hard time convincing Tim, but best of luck.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Will Adams right there, an optometrist.
Optician.
Optician. Jeez, I just gave you a pay raise.
Hey, I'll take it.
Did you see that? Thanks, buddy.